A loud, discordant piano chord being smashed repeatedly, a dog barking in the distance, the sound of a pillow being muffled over a face, a clock ticking aggressively. 3:17 a.m. I stared at the red digits of my alarm clock burning with a hatred usually reserved for dictators and people who chew with their mouths open. Bong, bong, bong. The sound vibrated through the thin walls of my pre-war Brooklyn apartment. It was a piano, and whoever was playing it was either a genius in the middle of a breakdown or a cat walking on the keys. "Please stop," I whispered into my pillow. "I have a deadline. I need sleep. I need sanity." Bong, tinkle, tinkle, crash. That was it. I threw off my covers. I marched to the kitchen, grabbed a Sharpie and a neon pink post-it note. I wrote in angry, jagged capital letters, "Dear Beethoven wannabe, it is 3 a.m. Some of us have jobs that don't involve torturing instruments. Shut up or I call the cops." 4A. I stomped out into the hallway. I slapped the note onto the door of apartment 4B. I pounded on the wood 3 times for good measure. Thump, thump, thump. The music stopped instantly. Victory. I marched back to my apartment, locking the door with a satisfied click. Finally. Silence. I crawled back into bed, drifting off to sleep with a smile on my face. I stared at the door. Someone had pounded on it, hard. I walked over and opened it. No one was there, just a pink square stuck to the wood. I peeled it off and read it. "Beethoven wannabe." I scoffed. I was a jazz pianist, thank you very much. And torturing instruments. That was a suspended 4th chord, resolving to a major 7th. It was art, 4A, I muttered, looking at the door across the hall. The librarian. I had never seen her, but I knew she existed. She got packages delivered daily. Books, always books. And she watered her plants on the fire escape at exactly 7 a.m. every morning. Boring, predictable. I grabbed a blue post-it note and a pen. "Dear Grandma Art does not sleep. Neither does New York. Buy earplugs." The maestro. I stuck it on her door. Let the games begin. An alarm clock beeping, coffee pouring, toast popping, the rip of a sticky note. I woke up at 7 a.m. I felt like a zombie. I opened my door to get the milk delivery. There was a blue note on my door. "Dear Grandma." My jaw dropped. Grandma. I was 26. "Oh, you want a war?" I muttered, ripping the note off. "You've got a war." I went to work at the publishing house. I edited 3 manuscripts, but my mind was on 4B. When I got home, I had a plan. I waited until 8 p.m. That was when he usually started his warm-up scales. Sure enough, do, re, mi, fa, sol. I cranked up my Bluetooth speaker. I put on a podcast, The History of Tractor Manufacturing. I pressed play, maximum volume. Then I put the speaker right against the shared wall. "Let's see how you like art now," I smirked. 10 minutes later, the piano stopped. 5 minutes later, a note slid under my door. "Dear 4A, tractors, really, I surrender. Please turn it off. I can't hear my own thoughts. Leo, not Beethoven." I laughed. It was a triumphant, villainous laugh. I wrote back, "Dear Leo, glad we understand each other. Quiet hours start at 10 p.m. Chloe, not Grandma." I slid it under his door. Espresso machine hissing, indie music playing, people chatting. The next day was Friday. I was meeting my best friend Sam for coffee. "You look tired," Sam noted, sipping her latte. "My neighbor," I groaned. "He's a musician. He plays all night. We're currently in a post-it war." "Is he hot?" Sam asked. "I don't know. I've never seen him. But he has terrible handwriting and an attitude problem." "Maybe it's sexual tension," Sam winked. "It's homicidal tension," I corrected. "Anyway, enough about him. Tell me about this setup." Sam clapped her hands. "Right. His name is Leo. He's a friend of a friend. He's creative, funny, and single. You need to get out more, Chloe. You live like a hermit. I like my hermit life, I grumbled. Just one date, Sam pleaded. Blind date, tonight, 8 p.m., at the Black Cat. Leo, I asked. That's a common name. Yeah, he's an artist or something. Just go, please. I sighed. Fine. But if he talks about tractors, I'm leaving. Jazz music, clinking glasses, low lighting ambiance. The Black Cat was a trendy bar in Soho. I wore my favorite red dress. If I was going to suffer through a blind date, I was going to look good doing it. I sat at a booth checking my watch. 8:05. He was late. Typical artist, I muttered. Chloe. I looked up. A man was standing there. He was gorgeous. Messy dark hair that looked like he just ran his hands through it. Scruffy jaw. A leather jacket over a vintage t-shirt. And eyes that were a startling shade of hazel. I'm Leo, he smiled. It was a lopsided, charming smile. Hi, I breathed. I'm Chloe. He sat down. He smelled like cedarwood and something familiar. Sorry I'm late, he said. My neighbor. She's a nightmare. I had to deal with a plumbing issue she caused. I froze. Your neighbor caused a plumbing issue? Long story. He waved a hand. She's just difficult. Anyway, Sam told me you're an editor. That sounds fascinating. We started talking, and it was easy. Leo was funny, he was smart, he listened when I talked about books, he didn't interrupt. So, I asked, twirling my straw. Sam said you're an artist. Musician, he corrected. Piano, mostly jazz. Oh, I tried not to grimace. That's nice. It pays the bills, sometimes. He laughed. I'm working on a composition right now, but it's hard to focus. My apartment building has thin walls. Tell me about it, I groaned. My neighbor thinks he's the next Mozart. He plays at 3 a.m. Leo's eyes widened. 3 a.m.? That's rude. Even I stop by midnight. Exactly, thank you. We clinked glasses. To terrible neighbors, Leo toasted. To terrible neighbors. I agreed. We talked for hours. We laughed. We flirted. I liked him. I really liked him. Can I walk you home? Leo asked when the bar closed. I live in Brooklyn, I said. Me too. He smiled. Which part? Park Slope. No way! He laughed. Me too. What street? I hesitated. New York. Rule number 1. Don't tell a stranger your address. Even a cute one. Near the park, I said vaguely. Ah, mysterious. He winked. Okay, I'll put you in a cab. He walked me to the curb. He hailed a taxi. Before I got in, he took my hand. I had a great time, Chloe. Me too, Leo. Can I see you again? I'd like that. He leaned in and kissed my cheek. His stubble grazed my skin. I got into the taxi feeling giddy. I had met a great guy, a musician who understood quiet hours. Life was good. I got home at midnight. The hallway was quiet. I looked at apartment 4B. There was a new note on my door. Dear 4A went out on a date. Hopefully she's nicer than you. We'll try not to wake you up when I get back. Leo. I rolled my eyes. Jerk. I went inside. I changed into my pajamas. I heard the elevator ding, footsteps in the hall. Then the door to 4B opened and closed. He was back. I waited for the piano. Silence. Then a soft melody started playing. It wasn't loud. It wasn't banging. It was gentle, romantic. It sounded like the song playing at the bar tonight. I lay in bed listening to it. It was actually kind of beautiful. I fell asleep thinking about Leo the date and tolerating Leo the neighbor. Little did I know, they were about to collide. The next morning arrived with a hangover of happiness. I woke up with a smile on my face, the memory of Leo's hazel eyes and crooked grin dancing in my mind. Even the sunlight streaming through the window seemed brighter, less like an interrogation lamp and more like a warm embrace. I stretched my limbs heavy with the good kind of tiredness and reached for my phone. A text from Leo. Had a great time last night. Can't stop thinking about your rant on tractors. Dinner tonight. L. I bit my lip to suppress a giggle. Dinner. 2 nights in a row. This was dangerous territory. This was I might actually like him territory. I typed back a quick yes, 8 p.m., feeling like a teenager with her first crush. Then reality crashed the party. A loud rhythmic thumping sound vibrated through the floorboards, shaking my bed frame. It wasn't the piano this time. It was something heavier, something wet. Thump, splash, thump, splash. I frowned, swinging my legs out of bed. My feet hit a puddle. What the? I looked down. My bedroom rug was soaked. Water was seeping in from the hallway, creeping under my door like an invading army. Panic surged through me. My books. My first editions. I scrambled to the door and yanked it open. The hallway was a swamp. Water was gushing out from under the door of apartment 4B. Leo! I screamed, banging on his door. Open up! You're flooding the building! No answer, just the sound of rushing water and, was that jazz music playing at full volume? Of course it was. He probably couldn't hear the apocalypse over his saxophone solo. I pounded harder. Leo, your apartment is leaking. Finally, the music stopped. I heard footsteps splashing towards the door. It swung open, revealing a man who looked like he had just wrestled a sea monster. He was drenched. His white t-shirt was plastered to his chest. His hair was dripping, and he was holding a wrench like a weapon. But it wasn't the Leo from last night. This Leo had darker circles under his eyes' stubble that looked more homeless than rugged, and he was wearing pajama pants with cartoon pizzas on them. He stared at me, blinking water out of his eyes. What, your apartment? I pointed at the waterfall cascading over his threshold. It's drowning my hallway, and my rug, and my sanity. He looked down. Oh, that. He scratched his head with the wrench. The pipe under the sink burst. I tried to fix it, but I think I made it worse. You think? I snapped, stepping back as a wave of water threatened my slippers. Turn off the main valve. I don't know where it is, he admitted, looking helpless. I'm a musician, not a plumber. I groaned, pushing past him into his apartment. It was chaos. Sheet music was floating on the floor like lily pads. A grand piano stood on a rug that was rapidly turning into a sponge. Takeout boxes bobbed in the current. The valve is usually under the sink, I shouted over the sound of spraying water. I marched into the kitchen. A geyser was shooting out from the cabinet. I dropped to my knees, ignoring the cold water soaking my pajamas. I reached into the cabinet, fumbling for the valve. It was slippery, rusted tight. Do you have a towel? I yelled. He looked around, then handed me a shirt from the floor. Use this. I rolled my eyes, wrapped the shirt around the valve, and twisted with all my might. It groaned, protested, and finally turned. The geyser sputtered and died. Silence returned to apartment 4B, broken only by the drip, drip, drip of water falling from the ceiling. I stood up, wringing out my wet hair. I was shivering. There, I said, my teeth chattering. Fixed. Leo, the neighbor. Leo looked at me with a mixture of awe and embarrassment. Wow, he said. You're handy. One of us has to be, I muttered, crossing my arms. Now about the damage to my rug. I'll pay for it, he said quickly. Whatever it costs. I'm sorry. Really. He looked sincere. He looked miserable. And he was shivering too. Do you have dry towels? I asked. my anger softening slightly. Or did you use them all for your origami practice? He laughed, a startled, genuine sound. I have towels. Clean ones. Wait here. He ran into the bedroom and came back with two fluffy white towels. He handed one to me and wrapped the other around his shoulders. Thanks, I mumbled, drying my face. I'm Leo, by the way, he said, extending a hand. I know we got off on the wrong foot. Or the wrong note. I hesitated. This was the enemy. The noisemaker. The flutter. But he was also just a guy standing in a puddle in pizza pajamas. Chloe, I said, shaking his hand. It was warm despite the cold water. So, Chloe, he said, leaning against the counter. I guess this means the noise complaints are valid. I'm a terrible neighbor. The worst, I agreed. But you play well. Sometimes. When you're not banging on the keys like a toddler. He grinned. It was a lopsided grin that looked eerily familiar. I'm working on a concerto. It's emotional. It's loud, I corrected. But the piece you played last night, the slow one. Yeah. It was nice. It helped me sleep. His eyes lit up. Really, that's good to hear. I wrote it for someone. Oh. My heart sank a little. A girlfriend. Not yet, he said, looking down at his feet. Just a girl I met. She's complicated. She hates noise. I froze. She hates noise? Yeah, and she's smart. Intimidatingly smart. I'm trying to impress her. My brain short-circuited. A girl who hates noise. A musician trying to impress her. Could it be? No, impossible. New York City has 8 million people. There are thousands of girls who hate noise. Well, I said, backing towards the door, good luck with her, and fix your plumbing properly. Next time I'm billing you for emotional distress. Deal. He saluted with the wrench. I walked back to my apartment, my mind spinning. Leo, the neighbor, was charming. In a messy, chaotic way. But Leo, the date, was perfect. I shook my head. I had a date tonight. I needed to focus on that, not on the guy across the hall with the pizza pants. That evening, the Spotted Pig was bustling. It was a gastropub, loud and cheerful. I saw Leo, my date, waiting at the bar. He looked devastatingly handsome in a black button-down shirt. He waved when he saw me. Hey, I said, sliding onto the stool next to him. Hey yourself. He kissed my cheek. You look amazing. And dry. Dry? I asked, confused. I mean, it's raining outside, isn't it? He recovered quickly. You didn't get wet. Oh, no, I took a cab. We ordered drinks. The conversation flowed effortlessly. We talked about books, about music, about our weirdest childhood memories. So, Leo said, leaning in, tell me about your day. Did the neighbor behave? I groaned. Don't even ask. He flooded the hallway this morning. I woke up in a puddle. Leo's eyes widened. He looked genuinely horrified. No way. A puddle? A lake. I exaggerated. He broke a pipe. I had to go in there and fix it myself because he didn't know where the valve was. Can you believe that a grown man who can't turn off water? Leo coughed into his drink. Wow, what an idiot. Total idiot, I agreed. But he was kind of cute about it. He was wearing these ridiculous pizza pajamas. Leo choked. He started coughing violently. Are you okay? I patted his back. Fine. He wheezed, his face red. Just pizza pajamas, that's specific. I know, right? Who wears those? Maybe he likes pizza, Leo suggested weakly. Anyway, I waved a hand. Enough about him. Let's talk about us. You mentioned you were writing a song. Yeah. Leo recovered, taking a long sip of water. It's coming along. I think I found my muse. He looked at me. His hazel eyes were soft, vulnerable. Can I hear it sometime? I asked. Soon, he promised. When it's perfect. We left the bar hand in hand. The night air was cool. This was great, I said. Again. Again, he agreed. He walked me to a cab. Before I got in, he pulled me close. Chloe, yeah. If, hypothetically, a guy made a really big mistake, but he did it because he liked a girl, would you forgive him? I looked at him puzzled. What kind of mistake? Like, a lie of omission? Or a plumbing disaster? I laughed. You're weird tonight, Leo, but yes, I'm a forgiving person, usually. Good, he whispered. Good. He kissed me. It was a soft, lingering kiss that tasted of beer and secrets. I got into the cab watching him wave goodbye. He stood under the street lamp looking forlorn. Why did he look so guilty? When I got home, the hallway was dry. The mess had been cleaned up. There was a note on my door. A yellow one this time. Dear 4A, sorry about the flood. Hired a professional. Rug cleaning is on me. Also, I bought you a cactus. It doesn't need much water, unlike my apartment. Leo. I looked down. A small, prickly cactus sat on my doormat tied with a red ribbon. I smiled. I picked up the cactus and went inside. I placed it on my windowsill next to my books. Maybe the neighbor wasn't so bad after all, and maybe, just maybe, the date was even better. I sat down at my desk to work, humming the tune I heard last night. Suddenly a thought struck me. A bolt of lightning. Leo the date, said in dry. Before I mentioned the rain. Leo the neighbor wore pizza pajamas. Leo the date choked when I mentioned them. Leo the neighbor played a song. Leo the date was writing a song. Leo. Leo. Two Leos, one name, both musicians, both living in Park Slope, both weirdly connected. I stood up. My heart began to race. I walked to the shared wall. I pressed my ear against it. Silence. Then a voice, muffled but audible through the thin, pre-war plaster. You idiot, the voice groaned. She knows. She has to know. Pizza pajamas. Why did I wear the pizza pajamas? It was his voice, Leo the date's voice, coming from apartment 4B. I backed away from the wall, covering my mouth. They weren't two different people. They were the same person. My nemesis was my boyfriend. My boyfriend was the guy who woke me up at 3 a.m. I stared at the cactus. Oh my God, I whispered. I'm dating the Beethoven wannabe. I sat on the floor of my living room, clutching the cactus like it was a hand grenade. The realization hit me in waves, each one more horrifying than the last. Leo, the charming, witty, slightly mysterious guy I had been swooning over for 2 dates, was Leo the noise-polluting, pipe-bursting menace next door. He lied to me, I whispered to the cactus. He sat there eating truffle fries and listened to me complain about him, and he didn't say a word. Anger bubbled up inside me, hot and fizzy. He had played me. He had let me vent, let me call him names, let me make a fool of myself, all while secretly laughing behind his menu. Oh, you won a game, Leo. I narrowed my eyes at the shared wall. I'll give you a game. The next morning I woke up with a plan. A petty, vindictive, brilliant plan. I dressed in my sharpest outfit, a pencil skirt and a silk blouse that meant business. I put on my highest heels. Click, clack, click, clack. The sound of war. I opened my door. There was a fresh coffee on my doormat, a latte, from the black cat, and a note. Dear 4A, hope the cactus survived the night. Here is some caffeine as a peace offering. Please don't sue me. Leo. I stared at the coffee. It was sweet, thoughtful. It was also bribery. I picked it up and took a sip. Perfect. Just the right amount of foam. Damn him. I grabbed a green post-it note. Dear 4B, thanks for the coffee, but bribery will not erase the water damage to my soul. Also, your music last night was a C minor. Try harder, Chloe. I stuck it to his door and marched to the elevator. My phone buzzed. A text from Leo the date. Good morning, beautiful. Hope you slept well. Free for lunch, I know a great taco place. I typed back instantly. Can't. Busy suing my neighbor for emotional distress. He's a real piece of work. See, I watched the little dots appear and disappear. He was panicking. Good. Oh no. Is it bad? Terrible. He tried to buy my forgiveness with a latte. Pathetic, right? C, maybe he's just trying to be nice. Nice. He's a monster in pizza pajamas. But I have a plan to deal with him. C. I hit send and stepped into the elevator, smiling like the Cheshire Cat. Let him sweat. That evening, Leo the date picked me up. He looked nervous. He kept glancing at me, trying to gauge my mood. So, he said as we walked towards the restaurant, how was your day? Did you sue the neighbor? Not yet, I said breezily. I'm building a case. I'm documenting everything. Every wrong note, every creak of the floorboards. I'm going to destroy him. Leo gulped audibly. Destroy him? Isn't that a bit harsh? Maybe he's just misunderstood. Misunderstood. I stopped walking. I turned to him, looking deep into his guilty hazel eyes. He lied to me, Leo. Lies of omission are still lies. Don't you agree? Leo tugged at his collar. Well, sometimes. Sometimes people lie because they're afraid. Afraid that if you knew the truth, you wouldn't give them a chance. That sounds like a coward's excuse, I said mercilessly. Or a desperate man's plea, he murmured. We arrived at the taco place. It was small, colorful, and smelled of spices. We sat down. I have a confession, Leo said, suddenly putting down his menu. My heart skipped a beat. Was he going to do it? Was he going to come clean? I hate cilantro, he blurted out. I blinked. That's your confession? Yes, it tastes like soap. Don't judge me. I sighed. Coward. I won't judge you for the cilantro, I said, but I will judge you for other things. We ate tacos. We drank margaritas. Despite my anger, I found myself laughing again. He was funny. He was self-deprecating. He was everything I wanted wrapped in a package of deceit. You know, Leo said, wiping salsa from his chin. You're scary when you're vindictive. I'm efficient, I corrected. It's sexy, he admitted. I felt a blush creep up my neck. Don't try to charm me, Leo. It won't work. Is it working? Maybe a little? He walked me home, to our home. We stood on the sidewalk outside the building. This is me, I said, pointing to the entrance. This is me, too. He smiled weakly. Right. The mystery apartment in Park Slope. Yeah. Are you going to invite me up? I asked, testing him. Panic flashed in his eyes. Up to my place. Why not? Unless you have something to hide, like a secret family or a collection of stolen traffic cones. No family, no cones, just, it's a mess. I'm a messy guy. I don't mind mess. I stepped closer. I fixed a pipe in a stranger's apartment yesterday. I've seen worse. Leo looked at the door. He looked at me. He looked like a man standing on the edge of a cliff. Chloe, he said, I really like you. I like you too, Leo. But I can't let you come up. Not tonight. Why? Because, he took a deep breath. Because if you see my apartment, you'll know everything, and I'm not ready for this to end. I stared at him. He knew. He knew that I would recognize the door, the hallway, the proximity. Maybe I already know, I whispered. He froze. What? I leaned in and kissed his cheek. Good night, Leo. Sleep well. And tell the Beethoven wannabe to keep it down tonight. I need my beauty sleep. I turned and walked into the building, leaving him standing on the sidewalk, stunned. I got into the elevator. As the doors closed, I saw him running towards the entrance. I laughed. Checkmate. I was in bed reading when I heard it. Piano music. But not the usual scales or jazz improvisation. It was a melody. Simple, sweet, haunting. It sounded like an apology. I put down my book. I walked to the shared wall. I pressed my hand against the cool plaster. The music swelled. It was beautiful. It was full of longing and regret. He was playing for me. I knew it. I grabbed a book, a heavy hardcover, and tapped on the wall. Tap, tap, tap. The music stopped. I can hear you, I said to the wall. I know. His voice came back muffled but clear. I'm sorry. For the noise? For everything. I slid down the wall until I was sitting on the floor. You're an idiot, Leo. I know. Can I come over? No. Why? Because I'm still mad at you. How mad on a scale of 1 to 10? 11. That's high. You deserve it. Silence. Chloe. Yeah? If I wrote you a song, would that bring it down to a 7? I bit my lip to stop a smile. Maybe. Okay, listen. He started playing again. This time he sang. His voice wasn't professional. It was raspy, a little off-key, but it was honest. The girl next door, she hates the noise. She hates my guts. She hates my joys. But she fixed my sink and she stole my heart. And I was a fool right from the start. I laughed. I couldn't help it. It was terrible and wonderful. That's awful, I shouted through the wall. I'm working on the bridge, he shouted back. It gets better. It better. I sat there for an hour listening to him compose a song about a grumpy librarian and a clumsy musician. We talked through the wall. We laughed. It was the most romantic date I had ever been on. And we weren't even in the same room. The next evening, New York decided to test us. A heat wave had hit the city and everyone had cranked up their ACs. The grid groaned, flickered, and then died. Zzzt. Darkness. Total pitch-black darkness. I screamed. I hated the dark. It was a childhood phobia I never outgrew. I scrambled for my phone. Dead battery. Of course. Okay, Chloe. Breathe. Candles. You have candles. I fumbled my way to the kitchen drawer. I found matches. I found a candle, but I couldn't find a lighter. Damn it! I sat on the floor hugging my knees. The apartment was suffocatingly hot and terrifyingly dark. The shadows seemed to move. Knock, knock, knock. Someone was at my door. Chloe, Leo's voice. Are you okay? I scrambled to the door. I unlocked it and threw it open. Leo stood in the hallway holding a flashlight. The beam illuminated his face, worried, sweaty, and handsome. The power is out, he stated the obvious. I know. I breathed, my voice trembling. I don't have a lighter. I have one, he said. And ice cream. It's going to melt, so we should probably eat it. He shone the light on my face. He saw the fear in my eyes. Hey, he lowered the flashlight. It's just the dark, I'm here. I hate it, I admitted. Come on. He reached out a hand. My place has a balcony, it's cooler outside, and there's moonlight. I hesitated. Going into his apartment meant crossing the final line. It meant acknowledging the truth we had been dancing around. But the hallway was dark, and his hand was warm. I took it. Okay, I said. But if you serve me melted ice cream, I'm leaving. Deal. He led me into apartment 4B. It was exactly as I imagined. Chaotic, creative. Sheet music was taped to the walls. Instruments were scattered everywhere, a guitar on the couch, a trumpet on the bookshelf. The grand piano took up half the living room. And in the corner, a pile of towels. The scene of the crime. Leo led me to the balcony. It was small, cluttered with dead plants. He really was a bad gardener, but the view of the darkened city was magical. We sat on the floor sharing a pint of Ben and Jerry's. So, Leo said, licking his spoon, this is it, the beast's lair. It's messy, I commented. It's lived in. You have a lot of instruments. I like noise. I know. We ate in silence for a while, the city sounds drifting up from the street, sirens shouting laughter. Chloe. Leo put the ice cream down. About the other night. You mean the night you pretended not to be my neighbor? Yeah, that one. He sighed. I didn't plan it. When Sam set us up, I didn't know it was you. And then, when you started talking about the Beethoven wannabe, I panicked. I liked you. I didn't want you to hate me before you knew me. I already hated you, I reminded him. You hated the noise, he corrected. Not me. He moved closer. In the moonlight, his eyes were silver. Do you hate me now? He whispered. I looked at him, the messy hair, the pizza sauce stain on his t-shirt, which he had changed into, the earnestness in his face. I'm trying to, I said, but you're making it very difficult. Good. He smiled. Let me make it impossible. He leaned in. He kissed me. This time it wasn't a tentative first kiss. It wasn't a goodbye kiss. It was a hello kiss. It was a kiss that said, I see you. I know you. And I want you. I kissed him back, tasting chocolate ice cream and desire. He pulled me into his lap. My hands tangled in his hair. His hands found my waist. Leo, I murmured against his lips. Yeah. Your music. What about it? It's not a C minor anymore, I whispered. It's an A+. He laughed, a vibration against my chest. I'll take it. We kissed again under the moonlight while the city slept in darkness. The war was over. The truce was signed. And the neighbors. They were just getting started. The next morning the power was still out. The city was waking up to a sweltering, humid dawn. But inside apartment 4B, things were cool. Or maybe that was just the awkwardness. I woke up on Leo's couch covered in a thin sheet. Leo was asleep on the floor using a pile of cushions as a mattress. He looked like a shipwreck survivor. I tiptoed to the bathroom to splash water on my face. In the mirror, I looked like a mess. Mascara smudged hair wild. But I was smiling. I had slept over. At the neighbor's house. The enemy's house. And it was nice. I walked back into the living room. Leo was awake, stretching. His back cracked loudly. Morning, he croaked. Morning, I said, leaning against the piano. How's the floor? Hard, he admitted, standing up. But worth it. Did you sleep okay? Surprisingly well. Your couch is more comfortable than my bed. Trade, he offered. Only if you throw in the piano. Deal. We stood there smiling at each other. It was domestic, easy. Then my stomach growled, loudly. Breakfast, Leo asked. The fridge is warm, I reminded him. Right, bagels. Bagels. We walked down the street to the local bagel shop. It was packed with people escaping their hot apartments. We stood in line, Leo's hand casually brushing mine. So, I said. Now what? Now we get bagels, he said literally. I mean us, Leo. Are we? Um, Dating, or are we just neighbors who share ice cream during blackouts? Leo turned to me. He looked serious. I want to date you, Chloe. Properly. No secrets, no fake names. Just us. Even with the noise? I'll buy headphones, he promised, or soundproof the walls, whatever it takes. My heart fluttered. Okay, let's date. We got our bagels and coffee and walked to the park. We sat on a bench watching dogs chase frisbees. Can I ask you something? Leo said, chewing. Shoot. Why books? Why editing? Because books are safe, I explained. They have beginnings, middles, and ends. You can close them when things get scary. Real life isn't like that. Real life is messy, he agreed. Like jazz. You never know where the melody is going. Exactly, and I hate jazz. Ouch, he laughed. Give it a chance. It grows on you. Our peaceful morning was interrupted by a phone call. My phone. It was my boss, Mrs. Gable. Chloe, where are you? The manuscript for the Earl's Secret Baby is due at noon. The author is threatening to sue. I'm coming, Mrs. Gable. I panicked. The power outage. I don't care about power. I care about Earls. Get here now. Click. I groaned. I have to go. Emergency. Go, Leo said, standing up. I'll walk you to the subway. He walked me to the station. He kissed me goodbye, a quick peck on the lips that left me wanting more. See you later, neighbor. He winked. Later, maestro. I rushed to work. The day was a blur of frantic editing, angry authors, and too much caffeine. By the time I left the office at 6 p.m., I was exhausted. I just wanted to go home, see Leo, and maybe listen to him play something soft. But when I got to our building, there was a police car outside, and an ambulance. My heart stopped. Leo, I whispered. I ran inside. The lobby was crowded with tenants. Mrs. Higgins from 2C was crying. What happened? I asked the doorman, Ralph. Break in? Ralph said grimly. Fourth floor. Fourth floor. My floor. Who? I demanded. Which apartment? 4B, Ralph said. The musician. The world spun. I pushed through the crowd and ran up the stairs. The elevator was still out. I reached the fourth floor. The door to 4B was open. Police tape was crisscrossed over the frame. Inside it was chaos. The piano was overturned. The furniture was smashed. Sheet music was scattered everywhere like confetti, and there was blood on the floor. Leo! I screamed, trying to duck under the tape. A police officer stopped me. Ma'am, you can't go in there. It's a crime scene. Where is he? I shouted. Where is the tenant? He's been taken to St. Jude's, the officer said. He surprised the intruders, put up a fight. I didn't wait to hear more. I turned and ran back down the stairs. St. Jude's Hospital. I hailed a cab. The ride felt like it took 100 years. I rushed into the ER. Leo Sterling. I'm looking for Leo Sterling. The nurse checked her computer. He's in Trauma Bay 4. Are you family? I'm his... I hesitated. I'm his neighbor and his girlfriend. Go ahead. I ran to Bay 4. Leo was sitting on the edge of the bed. He was shirtless. A doctor was stitching a cut on his arm. His face was bruised, one eye swelling shut. But he was alive. Leo! I cried, rushing to him. He looked up. His good eye widened. Chloe! Oh my God! I hovered over him, afraid to touch him. What happened? Ralph said. The apartment. They trashed it, Leo said, his voice flat. Looking for cash, I guess. I came home early and... Well, I'm not a fighter. You fought them. I tried to protect the piano, he admitted with a weak smile. Stupid, right? You're an idiot. I sobbed, hugging him carefully. A brave, stupid idiot. He wrapped his good arm around me. I'm okay, Chloe. Just a few stitches. But my music, my laptop, it's gone. We'll get it back, I promised. Or we'll write new music. And the apartment, I can't stay there. The door is broken. Stay with me, I said instantly. Chloe, I mean it. My couch is comfortable, and I have a working lock. Leo looked at me. He looked broken, defeated. Are you sure I snore? I'll buy earplugs. I smiled through my tears. Just come home. Leo moved into apartment 4A that night. He brought a bag of clothes and his toothbrush. Everything else was either broken or police evidence. It was strange having him in my space. My apartment was neat, organized, color-coded. Leo was not. He left his socks on the coffee table. He drank milk from the carton. He hummed constantly. But I didn't mind, because he was safe. That night we lay in my bed. He was in pain, so he took the left side, my side, and I curled up on the right. Chloe, he whispered in the dark. Yeah. Thank you. For what? For not kicking me out when you found out I was the Beethoven wannabe. And for this. That's what neighbors do, I said. Is that all we are? He asked. I turned to face him. I could see the outline of his bruised face. No, I said. We're more. I kissed him gently. Go to sleep, Leo. The next few days were a blur of domesticity and recovery. Leo healed quickly. He helped me cook. He was actually good at chopping vegetables. He fixed my leaky faucet properly this time. He even organized my bookshelf by color, which drove me crazy but was sweet. But he was sad. Without his piano, he was like a bird without wings. He would sit at my kitchen table, tapping his fingers on the wood, humming melodies under his breath. I miss it, he admitted one night over pasta. We'll get you a new one, I said. Insurance will pay. It's not about the money, he sighed. It's about the feeling. That piano was my grandmother's. I looked at him. I knew I had to do something. The next day, while he was at the police station giving a statement, I made a call to Sam. Sam, I need a favor, a big one. Anything for you and Mr. Pizza Pajamas, what is it? I need a keyboard, a good one, and I need it delivered to my apartment by 5 p.m. On it. When Leo came home that evening, he looked exhausted. They haven't found the laptop, he said, slumping onto the couch. All my compositions, gone. Close your eyes, I said. What? Close them. He obeyed. I led him to the bedroom. Open. There on a stand by the window was a sleek professional Yamaha keyboard. It wasn't a grand piano, but it was beautiful. Leo stared at it. He walked over and touched the keys. Chloe, it has a headphone jack, I pointed out. So you can play at 3 a.m. and not wake me up. He laughed. A real joyful laugh. He turned to me and picked me up, spinning me around. You are amazing, he said. You are the best neighbor in the history of neighbors. I know, I preened. Now play something. He sat down. He put on the headphones. I couldn't hear the music, but I watched his face. His eyes closed. His fingers danced. His expression shifted from sadness to peace to passion. He was back. I sat on the bed watching him create. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. Suddenly he stopped. He took off the headphones. Come here. He patted the bench next to him. I sat down. I want to teach you, he said. I have no musical talent, Leo. I can barely clap on beat. Trust me. He took my hands and placed them on the keys. Middle C, right here. He pressed my finger down. A clear, bright note rang out. Now E and G. He guided my fingers. We played a chord, C major. C, he smiled. You're a natural. We sat there for hours, him teaching me simple melodies, his chest pressed against my back, his hands over mine. It was intimate. It was sexy. Chloe, he whispered in my ear. Yeah, I think I'm falling in love with you. My hands froze on the keys. I turned to look at him. You think... I know, he corrected. I know I am. Good. I smiled, leaning in. Because I'm falling for you too, maestro. He kissed me, and in the background the C major chord faded into silence, leaving only the sound of two hearts beating in perfect rhythm. Living with Leo was like living with a chaotic but lovable tornado. My apartment, once a pristine sanctuary of silence and order, was now filled with the hum of his keyboard, the scent of his cologne, and his endless collection of colorful socks. And I loved it. We had settled into a rhythm. I went to work, he composed. I came home, we cooked or ordered pizza, and then we spent the evenings on the keyboard bench or tangled together on the couch. It was domestic bliss. Until the letter arrived. It was a Tuesday. I checked the mail on my way up. A thick, cream-colored envelope addressed to Leo Sterling. It looked official. Expensive. I handed it to him when I walked in. He was at the keyboard, headphones on, brow furrowed in concentration. Mail call, I said, waving the envelope. He took off the headphones. Thanks. He opened it. He read it, and his face went pale. What is it? I asked, putting down my bag. Bad news, the insurance company. No, he whispered. It's from the New York Philharmonic. The Philharmonic. My eyes widened. That's huge. They accepted my concerto, he said, staring at the letter as if it were a bomb. The one I submitted months ago, before the break-in. They want to premiere it next month. Leo, that's amazing. I threw my arms around him. Why do you look like you're going to throw up? Because, he swallowed hard, they want me to perform it, as the soloist. So, I have stage fright, crippling stage fright. I haven't performed in public since I messed up at Juilliard 5 years ago. You went to Juilliard. Dropped out, he corrected. After I froze on stage during my final recital, I couldn't move my hands. I walked off and never went back. I looked at him. The talented, confident man I knew was terrified. But you play for me, I said softly. You play beautifully. You're different, he said, taking my hand. You're safe, an audience. Critics, that's judgment. You can do this, Leo. I squeezed his hand. You're ready. I believe in you. He shook his head. I can't. I'll decline. No, you won't, I said firmly. This is your dream. You're not letting fear steal it from you. We're going to practice. Every night. Until you can play it in your sleep. And we did. For the next 3 weeks, Apartment 4A became a rehearsal studio. Leo played, I listened. We invited Sam over to be an audience of one, then Mrs. Higgins from 2C, then Ralph the doorman. Leo was nervous at first, his hands shaking. But with each performance, he got better, stronger. Imagine everyone is in their underwear, Ralph suggested helpfully. Imagine everyone is a tractor, I countered. Leo laughed. That helps. The night before the premiere, Leo was a wreck. He paced the living room. He drank 3 cups of herbal tea. He reorganized my bookshelf wrongly. Stop, I said, grabbing his arm. Sit down. I'm going to fail, he panicked. I'm going to freeze, and everyone will know I'm a fraud. You're not a fraud. I sat on his lap, forcing him to look at me. You are Leo Sterling, the guy who wrote a song about a grumpy neighbor, the guy who taught me C major. You are brilliant. What if I mess up? Then you mess up. I shrugged. And the sun will still rise, and I will still love you. He looked at me. His eyes softened. You love me. I froze. I hadn't said it out loud before. Yes, I whispered. I love you, Leo. Noise and all. He pulled me into a fierce kiss. I love you too, Chloe. More than music, more than pizza. That's a lot, I giggled. It is. He carried me to the bedroom. That night we didn't sleep much, but we didn't rehearse either. We focused on us, on the connection that had started with a post-it note and grown into something unbreakable. Orchestral tuning, a hush falling over a large crowd, applause, footsteps on a stage, Lincoln Center. I sat in the front row wearing a new black dress. Sam was next to me squeezing my hand. He's going to be great, Sam whispered. I know, I said, though my stomach was doing flips. The conductor raised his baton. Leo walked onto the stage. He looked dashing in a tuxedo. His hair was tamed mostly. He walked to the grand piano. He sat down. He adjusted the bench. He looked out at the audience. He looked terrified. Then he found me. I smiled and gave him a tiny thumbs up. He took a deep breath. He nodded. And he began to play. It was magnificent. The concerto was complex, emotional, and raw. It told a story of chaos and peace, of conflict and resolution. It told our story. His fingers flew across the keys with a confidence I had never seen before. He wasn't just playing notes, he was pouring his soul into the instrument. The orchestra swelled behind him, lifting him up. I watched him, tears streaming down my face. He did it. He was flying. When the final note faded into silence, the hall erupted, a standing ovation. Bravo, people shouted. Leo stood up. He bowed. He looked overwhelmed, happy and relieved. He looked at me again. He blew me a kiss. I caught it. The after-party was in a fancy lounge uptown. Champagne flowed. Critics praised Leo. Agents offered him contracts. But Leo was looking for someone. Me. He found me by the balcony getting some fresh air. Hey, superstar, I smiled. Hey, Muse. He grinned, wrapping an arm around my waist. Did I do okay? You were perfect. I was terrified, he admitted. But then I saw you. And I remembered the tractors. I laughed. I'm glad my tractors helped. So, he said, pulling a piece of paper from his pocket. I got an offer. A record deal. Better. A tour. Europe. 6 months. My heart dropped. Europe. Yeah. Paris, Vienna, London. Starting next month. That's incredible, Leo. You have to go. I want to, he said. But what? But I don't want to go without you. I stared at him. Me? I have a job, Leo. I have a lease. Quit the job, he said simply. Break the lease. Come with me. Be my manager. Be my editor. Be my... whatever you want. Just be with me. You want me to run away with you to join the circus? It's the Philharmonic, not a circus. He laughed. But yes, run away with me, Chloe. I looked at the city skyline. I thought about my job, my safe, predictable life. Then I looked at Leo, the man who filled my life with music and chaos. I can edit manuscripts anywhere, I mused. Exactly. And I've always wanted to see Paris. I hear the croissants are amazing. Okay, I said. Okay, I'll go. Leo let out a whoop of joy that made the waiters jump. He picked me up and spun me around. You won't regret it, he promised. I know, I said, dizzy with happiness. 1 week later, moving day, apartment 4A and 4B were empty. We stood in the hallway one last time, the place where it all began. I'm going to miss this hallway, Leo said, looking at our doors. I'm going to miss the post-it notes, I admitted. Leo reached into his pocket. He pulled out a neon pink post-it note. He stuck it on my old door. Dear 4A, thanks for the memories and the noise complaints. I love you. 4B. I smiled, tears in my eyes. I grabbed a blue post-it. Dear 4B, you're welcome. Now let's go make some noise in Paris. 4A. We walk to the elevator hand in hand, leaving the notes behind for the next tenants. Who knows? Maybe they would start a war too. Or maybe just maybe they would find a love story of their own.